Well, hello from Paris. That was a little bit awkward trying to get the video started, but I'm in my hotel room in Paris and the lighting is like the worst it is on the planet. So I was trying to find a way where half of my face wasn't totally washed out and the other half wasn't in shadow like the Phantom of the Opera or something. So hopefully I found kind of a middle ground there. Well, good morning from Paris. By the time you all watch this, I will probably not be in Paris anymore because I'm actually leaving to catch my flight in about an hour and I'll be coming back home to the US. I have quite the travel day ahead of me. My flight actually leaves Paris at 1 in the afternoon, which is really a great time. I mean, it means I haven't had to rush this morning. I've had to, but I've been able to kind of take my time. I've recorded a couple of these. This is, attempt number 3. So, I've had lots of time to get things done, but it's not the best travel itinerary in the world because I arrive in Newark, New Jersey at like 3 o'clock this afternoon, Newark time, and then I have a 6-hour layover. I mean, I'm going to be exhausted after like an 8-hour flight and then a 6-hour layover. Then I have to fly on to Nashville. I don't actually get to Nashville until like 11 o'clock tonight. So thankfully, my daughter is able to pick me up at the airport and take me home. She even went to the grocery for me yesterday and bought a few supplies so that I would have a few things in the house to snack on if I wake up randomly at, like 3 o'clock in the morning, Bowling Green time, and I'm starving. So that's kind of the plan for today. I'm happy to report that I was able to get all of my luggage packed and ready. I did not have to buy another suitcase like I was afraid that I might, but I am going to actually pay to check an extra bag. You all might recall that I was worried about how I was going to manage getting all of my souvenirs and stuff, in my bags, and it ends up that the bag that I used as a carry-on is actually really, really full and heavy. And so I'm going to choose to check that and pay that extra fee instead of, having to carry it around for 6 hours at the airport in New Jersey. And then I'll also have like 2 little carry-ons that I have to schlep around the airport. I've got a backpack that has my laptop and stuff in it, so unfortunately it's pretty heavy. And then I have like a tote bag that has, my sketching stuff and my purse and that kind of thing in it. But hopefully it won't be too much for me to manage. So, good news on the packing front. I've got the whole, going to the airport stuff worked out. But I thought you all might want to hear a little bit about the time that I spent in Paris. I've been in Paris for 3 days, roughly. I had a great time, but I have to tell you, I have to be honest, I didn't get a lot done. And I know that sounds crazy because it's like, you're in Paris, why aren't you doing all the things? You should be going all the places and experiencing it all. And maybe it's because I'm tired, but I just wanted to kind of come back to Paris and be here. I didn't want to have a bunch of things to accomplish. I didn't even really have a lot of places I wanted to visit. I just wanted to kind of breathe the city, if that makes sense. And so, yeah, I ate in cafes. I drank some wine. I enjoyed a few mojitos. I got together with friends. I did a few little touristy things. I wandered the streets, but I mean, honestly, I did a whole bunch of nothing these last few days. And I loved it. It was pretty awesome. Now 2 of the things that were my favorite involve other people, actually. So while I enjoyed kind of, traipsing around Paris on my own and not having to, consider what somebody else might want to do or whatever, I enjoyed kind of being solo. I loved being able to get together with my friend Caroline, who I met in 2015. She is one of the scrap gals, and she and I, we met for crepes, and had a lovely dinner and talked for like 4 hours, and it was just awesome. It was like it hadn't been 2 years since we'd seen each other and really talked. And one of the things that I love about Caroline is that she likes to have deep conversations. She doesn't want to just keep everything on that very surface. How is the weather? You look great. It looks like you're having a great life level. She wants to like really talk about things. And so that is so special. I mean, there aren't a lot of people who, want to move beyond the surface, especially when you don't see each other that often. And so we had such a great time. It was just one of those evenings that it cooled off nicely, and we were able to just relax and not rush, and I thought it was great. The other thing that happened that was a lot of fun is that Kelly Purkey messaged me on Monday afternoon and wanted to know if I might want to get together for lunch on Tuesday. And I was like, well, yeah, of course I do. Now, those of you all might remember me mentioning, I'm not sure, that I had messaged her a few months ago and told her that I thought we were going to be in Paris at the same time. And would she want to get together and have lunch or something? Would it be fun to connect? And she was a little bit non-committal, but I figured, she probably just had a lot of plans and she wasn't sure how she was going to spend her time. And I didn't take it personally. I thought, well, maybe it'll work out, maybe it won't. So when she messaged me on Monday afternoon, I was so excited. I was like, yay, she does want to get together. That's awesome. And I have to tell you, I'm such a nerd that when she told me when and where to meet, I had to be there extra early because I didn't want to be like super rushed and sweaty when I met her, but also because I needed to like prepare myself mentally for getting to meet her. I know that sounds like so lame and fangirlish and crazy, but I just, that's kind of my personality. I just wanted to be prepared and look calm and cool and collected when we finally did meet. So as I am playing on my phone, standing outside this restaurant, I look down the street and I see Kelly walking toward me. And she does look very glamorous in real life, I have to say. She had on big sunglasses and she was dressed in black and she had, her long flowing hair and she had, this big leather bag on. And I'm like, oh, that's Kelly Purkey. But I didn't let that show on the outside because, that's not cool. And so I kind of gave her the half smile, but I didn't go all fangirl and wave and say, Kelly, it's me. I didn't do any of that, even though I felt like that on the inside. I waited until she walked over and I was like, hey, Kelly, it's great to see you. And we did the little French, kiss hello. And then we went in and ordered our meal. And it was so funny because I think sometimes we expect people that we consider to be stars to really act like stars and to be kind of unapproachable. And she was not like that at all. I found her to be very warm and genuine and easy to talk to. So easy to talk to, in fact, that we ended up having lunch for 3 hours. And it's like, what did we even talk about for 3 hours? Because I kind of lost track, but we talked about travel, of course, and our families and our friends, and we talked about scrapbooking, and we talked about podcasts, and we talked about, television, and just pretty much anything you can think of we talked about in this 3-hour lunch. And it was so refreshing to have a real conversation with someone that I only know from a social media presence. And it was like reassuring that she was, as warm and genuine in person as I had hoped that she would be. She's a little bit reserved, and so I think that I probably responded to that in particular because I'm often pretty reserved in person, especially at first. And so, I felt really comfortable, and that was a very nice surprise. She was a great sport about taking some selfies. After our lunch, we went outside. We thought about taking selfies in the restaurant, but it was pretty crowded. And retrospectively, I wish that we'd done it anyway, but how that goes. And so as we headed out, she was like, so where should we take our picture? And I hated to be that fangirl demanding, take my picture with me or whatever, but she totally got it. She knew that I was going to need that. And we looked around a bit at the neighborhood we were in. was not especially gorgeous. I mean, it was just a really average neighborhood in Paris, and so there was some graffiti and there were some kind of beaten up doors, but nothing that just was like, wow, that says Paris. And so she said, oh, I remember that I think there's some street art down this way in this little alley. And like when I say that now, that sounds kind of creepy, but it wasn't creepy coming from Kelly, and it was broad daylight. So anyway, so we headed down the street and went to this alley, and sure enough, there was a great little piece of street art there. And so we posed and took several selfies, and a couple of them turned out pretty well that I shared on Instagram. And then she actually took a few photos of me standing in front of the mural. I offered to take pictures of her because she's always doing something cute in front of a wall, but she said that she had plenty of those, that it was no big deal. So it was just a really, really great experience, and a nice way to cap off a trip that has really been defined by getting to meet people that are now so special to me. I've always traveled mostly solo, other than when I was with students or when I'd have a friend who would meet me. And so connecting with people could sometimes be a challenge. I'd have these brief encounters with service people or people, on the street, and those would be exciting, but I'd never really gotten to connect with a lot of people in a personal, meaningful way. And so, getting to meet scrap gals from all over the world has been so incredibly amazing. Hanging out with Martina and Anne in Vienna was beyond special. Getting to meet up with Elena, who is from Bologna, but I actually met in Berlin, was so much fun. Getting to spend those days with Marie Pierre in Prague, I can't even put into words how much fun that was and how much it means to me. And then, getting to hang out with Allison in Brussels and getting to know her in a way that I would never have gotten to know her. And then getting to see Caroline again here in Paris so that we could reconnect our friendship from a couple of years ago. And getting to meet Kelly Purkey. I mean, those are such amazing things that I'm really grateful for the podcast and for our scrapbooking community, because without those, I would not have had those opportunities. And for me, they really define what this trip this summer has been about. And it just makes me hope that, like, in future years, I'll get to continue to do this, that I'll get to meet people all over the world and form friendships so that when I come back to visit, we can reconnect, and it becomes a real friendship that is just somehow more layered and more intimate than the friendships that you just form over social media. So I feel so lucky that I was able to be a part of all of their lives, even just for, like a brief moment. And I can't wait to see, kind of how our friendships develop from there. Maybe some of them will come visit me in the States. How fun would that be? So, at this point, a lot of people are probably wondering, how do you feel about going home? And I have to be honest that I'm ready to stop traveling for now. I've been on the road almost 8 weeks, and it's been amazing, and it's been adventurous, and it's been awesome, but I'm tired, and I'm ready to go home and be in my own space and kind of get back into the rhythm of my regular life. And sometimes at the end of vacations, I feel sad or depressed. It's almost like I call it the vacation hangover, where you have to kind of get through those miserable feelings of all the fantastic stuff being over and then get on with your regular life. But I don't think I feel that way this time. I feel really fulfilled, like I accomplished the things I really wanted to accomplish as I traveled. I feel really kind of peaceful about all of the things I was able to see and do. I mean, certainly I didn't see and do everything, and my bucket list is still super long, but I'm in a good place with it. And I've discovered in these past couple of days in Paris that even though I enjoyed walking by Notre Dame and seeing the Seine and walking into shops exploring street art and taking selfies down by the Eiffel Tower. Even though I enjoyed those things about the city, I've started to spend more time thinking about getting back to my regular life, and I think that that's a good thing. You know, when I go back home, I'll have about 3 weeks before school starts back full time, but I'll have some training days to do. I want to finish getting my class ready for my website. I have some projects I want to do around the house. I want to spend some time with my daughter and with the fella and with my friends. I want to, you know, work on some podcasting and get some shows ready for you all for the coming weeks. I have so much that I'm looking forward to doing at home that's part of my real life that I'm not sure that I'm sad that the travel part is over. I've been a lot of places, I've done a lot of things, and I'm a little bit tired. So maybe slowing down a little bit and spending some time at home will be a nice change of pace. And I think it'll be maybe a nice way to sort of segue into the fall season. So I hope you're not disappointed too terribly much that the vacation for this summer is over. I've loved that you've traveled along with me to all of these places, and your words have been so kind on Facebook and Instagram and on these videos. I appreciate that you're interested enough to follow along with these kinds of things. But you know, it's time to go home, and that's one of the best parts about travel. It really makes me appreciate my regular life at home almost as much, no, as much as I appreciate the ability to travel. I'm lucky in a lot of ways, and you know, a lot of people don't have the opportunity to travel and take time off in the way that I do, so I'm not going to minimize that. But I'm also pretty lucky in my regular life, and I'm ready to go home and just be with my people and maybe get crafty and get back into the rhythm of kind of ordinary life. Traveling can be exhausting, you know? All right, so I need to get out of here so that they can clean my room and I can get to the airport and get checked in. Fingers crossed that Charles de Gaulle Airport is not a madhouse today. And hopefully by the time I get to Newark, or at least by the time I get to Nashville, this will have posted and you guys will be able to see the end of my travel adventure. So I won't say goodbye forever. I will say au revoir until the next time, because I'm sure there'll be more of these. I'm going to travel some more, and you never know, I might start some crazy video series just on my own at home too. It could happen. All right, I will see you later, and in the meantime, I hope that you're enjoying some time with your friends and family, and that you're making some time to get crafty too. Can't wait to get home to my studio and make some fun stuff. Okay, ciao.